hello. I am back once again. I have to rearrange my setup. But here I am with another review on the Neca Part 2 Jason. Here he is now. Of course, new setup. I have a light here, a lamp, to show off because I feel like the light looks kind of bland. So I decided to do that. I also removed his backdrop and put his plastic casing in a bag. So there's that. Anyways, moving on to the figure. I can move on to the box. Here is the poster of Friday the 13th Part 2. I think it's a decent poster. Try and replicate Part 1 and 2. On the side, we have the side of Part 2. I think this is where 3 is the one that started this whole puzzle piece where you can add, once you add a figure box here, you get this little puzzle. Side, same thing. Front, Friday the 13th Part 2. Bottom, nothing special. And on the back, we get a basic, well, not really basic, we get it is basic, a basic read-up of Friday the 13th Part 2, and we get the Pamela Shrine, and, pictures of Jason, and on the front, this is where the figure would be housed, and this is the figure promotional image. I'm really liking the setup so far. So, moving on to the figure. The painting and sculpting on Part 2 Jason is really well done. Now, since this is a new mold, since Part 2 is portrayed by a different actor, I think Steve Dash played Part 2 Jason, well, mainly him masked. I think Neca has done a great job. You see here, start with his head. His head, very, very potato sack-like. As you see, there's the eye hole, and if the camera could focus, more likely, just wait. Actually, nah. As you see, there was an eye here, except you can't see it because the camera won't focus. And it also is being held by some ropes, kind of, tying it up. I don't know how Jason is not being choked by it, but okay. As you see, we even get to see the wrinkles there and some weathering on his bag head, which is really decent. Well, not really decent. It's really good. See it, and see, here's his eye. And you see, here's his body, wearing some more cracks. There's a crack right here. And you see his overalls. Very standard. You even get to see his pants, kind of. Very standard. Even has some pockets. There's some, there's not really some damage, but some wrinkles and maybe some damage. Who knows? His arms, nicely detailed. Of course, they're in a pattern, and they look very nice. You even get to see some possible dirt, but maybe it's just paint chipping on his hand and wrinkles, as you see. And this hand is just bloodied up to show Jason actually might have killed somebody. More wrinkles. His thighs are also more wear and tear. Either these are paint chip or it's like that on the figure. Very nicely detailed. Somewhat of the same mold as some other Jason. I don't know which Jason. Maybe 4 or 3. Who knows? But very nicely detailed nonetheless. I really like it. I think it's really good and nice wrinkling. And the shoes look very nicely detailed. Moving on to the accessory painting, we get Jason's unmasked head, which, putting this on this body, it feels weird. Because his head is so big, but this body is so skinny. As you see here, he has some hair on him, which is really weird. We even get to see the droopy eye, and he has a bald spot on the side, no offense. And as you see, it looks very nice. Not bad at all. You even get to see some dirty teeth. And then move on to Pamela's head, which I wish it had a shrine. I had to basically make a Pamela shrine, and I think I did a pretty okay job. As you see, there is some gore there, and where the skin defects and stuff, you even get to see her dirty hair and, the rotten skin. For most of his accessories, for weapon-wise, they're very dirty, or just mildly dirty. Look at the knife. It's clean, yes, but it feels like it's dirty on the sides. As you see, it's dirty on the sides, and it look like it was been there for so long. And then we have his machete, which is held like this. There's some blood there. He never really used a machete. He's like part 4. He never used a machete, except he's kind of weak. Pickaxe. His definitive accessory. Has some blood on it. I don't remember him using it. And I think it's pretty well done. And we get his spear, which has no blood on it. Very decent. We even get, but the main star of the show, besides the pickaxe and the weapons and stuff, is this. A campfire, nicely painted and sculpted really well. Along with this fire piece. It fits on very well. I think this is a very nice addition. And I hope when NECA, can start once they can make more Jason figures, maybe they could also make a diorama, because I know they did it for TMNT, and they somewhat did it for Nightmare on Elm Street, and they also did it for Pennywise either. They did accessory sets. Maybe they can make a accessory set of a campground that has a campfire. Who knows? That would be pretty cool. Now, moving on to the figure's articulation. And this guy I have not heated up. This guy is stiff. So, moving on. Head is on a ball joint, but very limited due to how the way it's sculpted. I'm also have to check the head, in case I feel like it broke. Up and down. Not that much up and down because of the way it's sculpted. The arms are on rotation. Flapping motion. Bend at the elbow and swivel, and a ball joint at the hands before they use hinge joints. I think the waist is really good, but again, limited, and the straps here fall and loose around a bit too easily. Legs can kick up and back. Nice spread. Thigh is a bit tight. So is the knee. I think the worrying part is the knee. And the ankles, more rotation at the ankles. Really good stuff. Posability is really well done for this Jason. And I think it's very good. Of course, it scales well next to the Michael Myers and other Jasons in your collection. So, there we go. Now, to size. Here he is compared to the NECA Freddy vs. Jason. Here he is compared to the NECA Part 6 Jason. I already made a review on this yesterday. Go check it out. This is that was the old setup, but I think it's I already said my review. I already said my thoughts on it. The NECA. Well, this is the McFarlane Toys Uber Jason. And then, why not the NECA Part 3? Right there. And that's it for that size comparison. So overall, this figure, so buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. There might be a reissue on this soon. I haven't seen one in stores, but I did see this most of the time at my local flea market. Nobody has ever bought this. I think it's a very good figure. In my opinion, it's better than 6 because it has more articulation. It isn't as loose, And there's some decent accessories on it. My main problem with it is how tight some of the joints are, like his knees, and maybe he came with a Padma shrine. And again, a lot of NECA fans would say, and I even agree with them, more alternate hands. If he had more alternate hands, it would make things so much better. I think that part 7 might come with some alternate hands, and I hope he comes with more. Because most of the time, Jason figures from NECA barely come with anything, and they usually just have a right hand that is gripping onto an accessory, or a left hand that is either gripping onto an accessory, or it's just open. Examples of this would be Versus Remake, Part 3, 4, and Dream Sequence. And maybe even Roy. Who knows? Even also 6. But anyways, I think he's pretty good. I would highly recommend him if you really like Part 2. And I think he's a very nice addition to your collection. Baghead Jason isn't necessarily my favorite, but I think he's very good. So, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll link a where to buy this figure. So, see you guys later with my review on the NECA Part 4 Jason. Bye-bye.